enlisted men. Some of the 8 weren't even sergeants yet because enough people had been lost that they were being replaced with people who hadn't had that much training. His job had been to coordinate with the Vietnamese Special Forces captain, run patrols and ambushes and stuff like that in the 93 square mile hunting area that they had to make it a miserable experience for the bad guys whenever they trespassed into it.
Mr. Smith's most memorable experience while in Vietnam was being able to lead 5 Southern Vietnamese soldiers to faith in Christ. He found that a lot more fun than putting about 50 Northern Vietnamese on the ground. When the South Vietnamese had to surrender, his camp was still holding out, so he had planted a church there. Also, in the 26 months Mr. Smith was in Vietnam, the Protestant Christian percentage of the free Vietnamese population had gone from about 2.5% to about 4%. Also, Mr. Smith believed that the Vietnam War was caused by communist determination to rule the world. When the Viets, Laotians, and Khmer Rouge had driven off the French in 1956, the communists went to North Vietnam and grabbed that, while Laos, Cambodia, and South Vietnam became independent countries. According to Mr. Smith, several thousand Southern communists and the anti-French freedom fighters went north with the other communists, where they were trained, equipped, and then sent back south to start over again. Mr. Smith had been fighting 2 armies, the Viet Cong, which were the communist citizens of South Vietnam, and the NVA, the North Vietnam Army. The French had recreated the South Vietnamese Army in 1954, but was only good for fighting in conventional war. The tanks and trucks did not work well if they were fighting in swamps and jungles, but America sent advisors to help enable them to fight. The South Vietnamese Army did well enough then to prevent the Viet Cong from taking over South Vietnam. Whenever the Viet Cong failed, the Communist North would send down more supplies and tools and soldiers to replace the ones that Mr. Smith and the rest had obliterated. The North would replace the lost equipment 2 or 3 or 4 for every one piece that was gone, which is why the war kept swelling up and getting bigger. On July 8, 1969, William Smith was called out of the woods and told he was being sent home. He spent the next day on an airplane on another over-the-ocean flight. He landed in Seattle after dark, and he spent the night on a bus to St. Louis, Washington. The next day, he was given a steak breakfast and immediately handed a plane ticket and thrown back into society, only 40 hours after being called out of the woods.
What were the reactions of the people when you returned home?
Yeah, okay. Not good. Well, let me drop back a little bit. I was 7 years old when my Uncle Albert came back from the South Pacific in World War II. And after World War II, any returning serviceman walked on water and talked to God and got the right answers. I mean, everybody loved him. When I came back after voluntarily putting my skin on the line, I was the bad guy. I mean, there were long-haired American hippies chanting, "Ho, ho, ho, achievement, the NVA is gonna win. Hey, hey, Green Beret, how many kids you killed today?" I'm way behind, Turkey, come over here. No, but nobody attacked me. One of my sergeants who came home before me put 367 days in Vietnam without a scratch between the airplane and the passenger terminal in California. He got a bullet in the right shoulder and left thigh from an American hippie. So naturally, when I came home, I had a loaded and cocked 9mm pistol under my coat. They didn't have any metal detectors at airports in those days. But nobody tried to kill me and nobody got hurt. But it was grossly unfair.